Hello and welcome to the What If League. Today we're making an experiment. What is going to happen if José Mourinho left Manchester United for Paris Saint-Germain and the Manchester United board of directors hired Carlo Ancelotti to replace him? In order to test out this scenario, what I have done is I have made the necessary changes in staff. As you can see on the screen, Manchester United hired Ancelotti and Mourinho takes Paris Saint-Germain hot seat. Now I am also going to fast forward until the end of the first season to see how did they perform, and afterwards we're also going to check the next 3 years to see the results that they achieve with their new teams. Here we are at the end of the first season. We can see that Manchester City were crowned champions with 88 points, 8 more than Manchester United. So Ancelotti did not manage to overthrow City, but that's to be expected considering the huge lead that they had in January. Let's have a quick look at Manchester United and how are they performing. We can see their captain and vice captain, nothing changed. Key player is David De Gea, so no news there. If we look at the tactics screen, it appears that Ancelotti is using the same system as Jose Mourinho. And there aren't really any surprises to the people that are being played as starters. Let's have a quick look at the schedules and see how did they perform during that time. So after the 18th of January, we can see that they won Burnley. Then in the FA Cup, they drew with Manchester City before they lost in the replay. So they were out of the FA Cup in the fourth round. Afterwards, they defeated Besiktas before losing away in Turkey 2-1. But afterwards, they managed to beat Besiktas 3-2 and qualified on away goals. So I'm not really sure how did this happen. Let me just have a quick look. So 4-4 and Besiktas actually qualify on away goals. So my bad, apologies. So Manchester United did not manage to get past the Turkish Besiktas in the first knockout round of the Champions League. Now let's also have a quick look at Paris Saint-Germain. We can see that their key player is not surprisingly Neymar. Let's have a quick look at the tactics screen before we see how did they perform in Ligue 1. So we see that Cavani is the main striker, Mbappe on the left wing with Lucas Moura on the right wing. Although this particular tactic screen is not showing us where Neymar is playing, and I'm sure that he played the majority of games. Let's have a quick look here. So he played 15 games, 8 goals, 4 assists. So he was definitely a starter. So we're not really seeing where did he play. So let's also have a quick look at the league standing. Let's have a so they were crowned champions 15 points ahead of the second place Monaco, so not really any competition domestically. Paris Saint-Germain were the undisputed champions of France in this first season. Now let's see how did they perform in the other competitions. We can see that in the French Cup, Coupe de France, they defeated Nice and they qualified for the 11th round. In the Champions League, however, they bowed out to Porto after losing away from home in Portugal 2-4 and only managing to get a 2-1 win at home. Afterwards, they were stopped by Dijon in the Coupe de France quarterfinals after penalties, which means that the only trophy that they won this first season was the domestic French league. Apparently, Jose Mourinho obviously won one title, but in France there was not much competition for PSG anyway, so I'm not really sure who performed better in this first season. In order to see the outcome of this competition, I am going to fast forward 3 more years into the future and then we're going to analyze the results. So I will be back with you in a flash. We are now back at the 2nd of June 2021, and once again we're going to start with the English Premier League. Afterwards we're going to move to France and in the end to the European competitions. So in the first season Manchester City were champions, 8 points above Manchester United, led by Carlo Ancelotti. In the second season, Manchester United claimed the title, which means that Ancelotti got his first title while at Old Trafford. He was 8 points adrift to the second place Chelsea, with Manchester City and Arsenal finishing the top four. In the third season, Manchester United again dominated the league, 2 points above second place Tottenham, with Chelsea and Manchester City completing the top four. And in the very last season, they dropped down to second, with Manchester City winning the league that year. If we go quickly back to Manchester United, let's see the tactics screen. The tactics have not changed at all. We see that there are a lot of new faces, so let's go and check the transfers and see who did Ancelotti buy. In the first season, there were no transfers. In the second, no incoming ones, but on the outgoing, we can see Phil Jones left for Chelsea, Mata left on a free transfer for Real Madrid, and James Wilson moved to Newcastle. Then in the third season, they bought Luan from Grêmio, Andrea Conti from Milan, Ricardo Pereira from Porto, and Alejandro Gomez from Atalanta. The exit door was shown to Zlatan Ibrahimovic, who went to Napoli for 4.2 million, and to Antonio Valencia, who was bought by Southampton. Cameron Borthwick-Jackson also was sold to Swansea. In the very last season, we see another Brazilian purchase, Arthur, again from Grêmio, Pizzi from Benfica, Lorenzo Insigne from Napoli, Nacho came from Real Madrid on a free transfer, and Ruben Neves from Wolverhampton. This final player, Cengiz Ünder from Roma, I'm not familiar with that name. He's a Turkish player, 23-year-old. He's a right midfielder and a left, so he is a winger, basically. I'm not familiar with that player, so I can't really comment. Apparently, he is good if Ancelotti decided to buy him at Old Trafford. If we look at the right part of the screen, the most apparent thing is Paul Pogba's transfer to PSG. Apparently, Jose Mourinho wanted Pogba in his team and he got his man for £81 million. Other remarkable transfers are Axel Tuanzebe to Huddersfield for 7.75, and the second goalkeeper Sergio Romero left the team to join Everton. Something that surprises me is Callum Green's transfer. Callum Green is usually a player who develops not bad, and seeing him going away for only £90,000 is very, very surprising to me. Now let's have a quick look at PSG before we move on to the European competitions to see how did both teams with their new managers perform. First, let's start with the league table in the French Ligue 1. Paris Saint-Germain won the first title, as we have already as we have already seen. In the second year, they won the title again, only 4 points more than second place Monaco, so this year was a bit more competitive. In the third year, they again won the title, this time only 2 points. And as you can see, both PSG and Monaco had great seasons with more than 100 points accumulated. Now let's have a look what happened in the last season. Another title for Paris Saint-Germain, this time 114 points, 38 wins, 0 draws, 0 losses, 101 scored goals, only 22 goals that were conceded. This is an amazing result for Jose Mourinho's team. Apparently they blew the competition straight out of the water this year. Now let's have a quick look at the team. First of all, let's see, their key player is still Neymar, which is not really a surprise. If we look at the tactics screen, we see that there are a lot of new faces here. Dybala, Nainggolan, Malcolm is here. So as well as Pogba, who we already saw that they bought from Manchester United for 81 million pounds. Let's have a look also at the transfer screen to see who did Jose Mourinho decide to buy while he's residing in Paris. So in the very first season, he didn't buy or sell anyone. He probably took his time to assess the squad. We saw the same kind of attitude from Carlo Ancelotti at Old Trafford. In the second season, they paid £160 million to Kylian Mbappe. This is an arranged transfer, so this is not Mourinho's doing. But the other transfers are definitely his will. You see Alexandro, the left fullback from Juventus, Kalidou Koulibaly from Napoli, Thibaut Courtois from Chelsea, Arturo Vidal from Bayern Munich, Paulo Dybala from Juventus, Raja Nainggolan from Roma, and Mario Fernandes from CSKA Moscow. Very, very impressive transfer window. The total amount spent speaks for itself. £433 million spent by Jose Mourinho in his second season in Paris. On the other side, we can see that Marquinhos left the team for £92 million, joining Monaco. We have also, let's see, Lucas Moura joining Southampton, Julian Draxler also joining Southampton. So Southampton, unfortunately for them, I didn't see them to make the top 4. Very interesting to see what did these players do while at the south coast of England. Other notable transfers are Gregor Krychowiak joined Sassuolo, Alphonse Areola joined Villarreal, and Hesse returned to Spain to join Deportivo. Now let's move on to the third season. Here we see Malcolm was purchased from Bordeaux, Sime Versauco from Milan, Miralem Pjanic from Juventus, Matteo Musacchio from Milan, and Andrija Živković from Benfica. Another very big transfer window for Jose Mourinho's PSG. On the selling end of things, Arturo Vidal was sold to Manchester City, Javier Pastore to Monaco, Angel Di Maria was sold out to Chelsea. Let's also see who else. Not no, the other players were not that significant transfers, but still this year brought very interesting transfers to the French champions. And now for the final season, Paul Pogba was the most remarkable transfer. 81 million pounds were given to Manchester United to take the creative midfielder who is really a powerhouse in the middle of the field. On the other side, Kevin Trapp left on a free to Dortmund and Yacine Adli joined Bordeaux. The rest of the transfers were only loans. Now I just wanted to quickly have a look at Southampton to understand what happened with them because we didn't see them to perform very well in the league. We see that Lucas Moura is on the right wing, and if we go to the transfer window, we can see what happened with Julian Draxler. He was sold to Tottenham for 46 million pounds, so they make a healthy profit out of him. As usual, I am now going to make a quick review of the European competition, starting with the Europa League. In the very first season, Monaco took this title home, defeating Arsenal 3-0 in the final. Monaco qualified to the final after defeating Milan in the semi-finals, the French Olympique Marseille in the quarter-finals, and Porto from Portugal 4-1 in the second knockout. In the next season, Arsenal took the title of the Europa League to London and the Emirates Stadium after defeating Sporting Lisbon 4-1 in the final. Arsenal qualified for that match by defeating Sevilla in the semi-final, CSK Moscow in the quarter-final, and Schalke from Germany in the second knockout round. Let's have a look what happened in the third season. Manchester United with Carlo Ancelotti at their helm were crowned champions of the Europa League after beating Newcastle 3-1 in the final. This is a very interesting turn of events that Newcastle qualified for the final of the Europa League. We can also see that United defeated Tottenham in the semis by crushing them 5-0 on aggregate. Before that, they managed to beat Olympique Lyon in the quarters and Borussia Dortmund 4-2 in the second knockout round. And in the final season so far, Juventus took the Europa League with their victory 1-2-0 against Benfica. Juventus qualified after beating Lazio, Köln and Roma on their way to the final, which was played in Istanbul in the Istanbul Ali Sami Yenspor Stadium. Moving up to the Champions League, in the first season the title went to Stamford Bridge when Chelsea defeated Atletico Madrid after extra time 3-2. Chelsea also beat 6-2 on aggregate Manchester City in the semi-finals after they also eliminated Sevilla in the quarters and Real Madrid in the first knockout round. In the second season, Chelsea made a double, so they managed to defend their Champions League title after they beat Atletico Madrid in the final 2-1. Before that, they defeated Liverpool in the semis, Real Madrid in the quarterfinals, and Porto in the first knockout round. The third season brought the title to Delle Alpi in Italy, when Juventus defeated Real in the final. We can see that Juventus qualified by defeating PSG, José Mourinho's PSG in the semis on away goals. Before that, they beat Barcelona and Shakhtar Donetsk. And in the last season, PSG took the biggest competition in Europe home, so they defeated Borussia Dortmund 3-2 in that final. Before that, they managed to get past Tottenham in the semis, Bayern Munich in the quarterfinal, and Shakhtar Donetsk in the first knockout round. Just to have a quick look also at the awards in these years, to have a look if we have some players that could be associated with these teams. Yes, we do. Kylian Mbappe won the Ballon d'Or award in the very last season when he was only 22 years old with an average rating of 7.71. This is indeed some amazing performance from the young winger slash striker, and apparently Jose Mourinho managed to bring out the best out of him. I think this is a very interesting experiment, and I intend to continue reviewing it 3 years incrementally. So what I am going to do, I am going to finish this video here, and I am going to calculate the next 3 seasons for video part number 2. What I would advise is for you to subscribe to my channel so that you are going to receive a notification when I upload a new video. In the meantime, don't forget to like this video, and you can also check out my social media listed in the description. Let me know what do you guys think about this, and whether you would like to see something else, some other experiment for me to perform. I would love to hear from you in the comments. That's my time, and until the next time, bye.